I'm going to start with 3 depth grooves in the gingival plane only first. I want my tip to sink in completely. What is the diameter of the tip? Here it will be 1 millimeter. Correct? So when I sink in completely at the margin, I automatically get 1 millimeter. Now starting with plane 1. Appreciate that I've sunken in completely inside. See that? Sunken in completely inside. Okay? And this has to be straight. There's no change in this plane whatsoever. Plane 2. Okay, these are my 3 depth grooves in plane 1. Do I give depth grooves in plane 2 right now? I don't. I don't give depth grooves in plane 2 at all. Why? Because this is my functional cusp. So when I'm eventually giving my functional cusp bevel, that entire surface will go off completely. So no need to reduce that now. Now all I need to do is connect this to this. When I'm connecting, I can move either this way or I can move this way. Either is fine. But I cannot move forward and back. Else what will happen is these grooves will keep going deeper and deeper. So you always go in one direction, lift, come back, go in the same direction, lift, come back. Okay? You'll appreciate that from the sound that the air rotor makes. See that I'm lifting? Okay. Now I will extend slightly interproximally but not break the contact. I want you guys to carefully pay attention to this. I've gone interproximally but I haven't broken the contact. Same thing I will do here. Okay. So this is where I tentatively finish my. Can you appreciate a good definite buccal finish line? Yeah? It will have a little grooves, but that's fine. Why? Because I still have to use my finishing burr here. Once I have confidence of how I'm doing this, I could keep it directly equigingival at this point. I'm keeping it supragingival so that you guys can appreciate it better. In a patient's mouth, this should be equigingival. Next burr is the interproximal burr. Okay, so this is the gingival crest. I will start slightly above it and simply just run through. And again, no change in this direction. Okay, this should stay constant, straight, because the taper is already incorporated into your burr. Same thing here. Yes, can you appreciate? Yes. 2 wings present there. You place it like this. Can you appreciate how the probe is going in? Right? And then simply just do this movement. Okay, so you place it inside and you pry it. See how the enamel ledge breaks off? Same thing here. How the enamel ledge breaks off? At this point, I have a choice of either decreasing the occlusal or going lingual. I personally always prefer to go lingual and decrease the occlusal last. It's a deep chamfer. So all I do is these grooves and then simply connect them. And as I move towards the interproximal, I will simply go ahead and connect it into the interproximal finish margin that my previous burr has already made for me. Okay, same thing here. Alright, so this is where tentatively my margins are ready. Okay, very important for the occlusal anatomy. You have to follow the plane of the cusp. Your burr cannot be straight like this. Okay, your burr has to follow the same angle that your cusp tip provides you with. So what I frequently advise is reduce one cusp tip at a time. Don't do the entire buccal or the lingual at one time. So that will also give you an idea of how much you have reduced. Okay, so keep this angle constant. Go from the tip downwards, from the tip outwards. Okay, from the tip down and tip out. See that? Tip out. Same thing on the other side. Can you appreciate? Cusp tip, cusp tip. If you straighten out, you are over reducing in this area and under reducing the central fossa area, and that is where you start getting high points in the central fossa area. So your burr angle is important. It should be angled towards the central fossa, and your movement will be cusp down, cusp out, cusp down, cusp out.
So it will be along the inclines.
Always follow the inclines that are already presented by the tooth. Now suppose this was a patient who used to clench. Now his inclines are flattened out, so you will simply just follow the same incline. You will not create a cusp tip in there. Alright, so just follow the incline that the tooth automatically gives you. You will do the same thing for the lingual. Lingual, you need to understand that because this is a non-functional cusp, you do not need as much occlusal reduction. So comparatively less than the buccal. But again, the same principle, one cusp at a time. Can you appreciate the entire anatomy being maintained here? Can you see these grooves standing up? Yeah? This will make sure that your technician will be able to give you the cusp tips exactly in those areas. Take the adjacent tooth angle. Okay, this is again what nature has given this patient, this angle, and simply pull it through on this one. That is your functional cusp bevel. Alright, so I'm taking this plane and I'm gonna Can you appreciate how steep that angle is? Yes? Are we at the right angle? Can you see a plane 1 and a plane 2? Okay, now this plane should not be as sharp, as exaggerated. So all you need to do is simply round it off. Okay, now had I made this plane 2 to begin with, it would have completely gone away in the occlusal reduction. So only do plane 1, plane 1. Occlusal reduction, plane 2, plane 2. What do I do on the lingual for plane 2? All I need to do is round the tips off. That's it. Okay, so all you do here is
We always make it in one plane.
not essentially one plane, but it's one plane with a rounded cusp tip. Can you see all the margins? They may be rough, that's fine. We still have to finish. And the occlusal anatomy, which has a cuspal pattern built into it. At this point is where I will use my silicone gauge strips. Yes? RT spot. Yeah. This is a special color which is available from the company Bosch. It's a paint on liquid, just like your nail paint. See that? Yeah. What you need to do is I'm going to take my 2mm strip first and just apply a pin coat. Place it like this. Ask the patient to bite into it. Okay? Bite into it and make excursive movements. On these typhodonts you will get very broad hairy marks, but on the tooth you will get actual contacts. Can you appreciate that? This tells me that in the central fossa area I have reduced enough, but where I need to work is these cusp tips. Yes, so this makes. What about these marks? The marks on the lingual, am I bothered by them? No. Why? Because I want 1.5 millimeter reduction. This is 2 millimeters, so I don't need it. And you will very specifically, not overall, because there already is adequate reduction elsewhere. So you will specifically reduce. You will specifically reduce these areas only. And always when you do this, work on your plane 2 a little. Off, I will place it here, I will ask my patient to bite into it and make excursive movements. Can you appreciate that? Yes? Yeah, so I need to reduce only this. Do I actually go ahead and reduce this right now? No. Why? Because during the finishing, this will any which ways be eliminated. Now when you do lingual reduction, which is 1.5, you will almost always get a mark on the buccal where already there is a 2 millimeter reduction. So do you need to reduce more on the buccal? No. Let's understand, when this goes inside and the patient bites, the entire assembly folds upon itself. And because of that, the ink is transferred. Your 2 millimeter reduction is already achieved. Okay? So you place this inside, close, ask the patient to make this movement. See that? Only the tips have to be modified a little further. These marks I'm not bothered about. I don't have to reduce this further. Only that one mark which I received earlier, that I will further modify. Now this I will slightly reduce, again very selectively. That's about it. Okay, nothing more than this. Now you know for a fact that you have 2 millimeter reduction on the buccal and 1.5 on the lingual. There's no guesswork involved here. Alright? The deep chamfer, but with a fine grit. That's the red ring burr. Where do I use this? Everywhere excepting for this margin. Okay, why? Because buccal margin is a radial shoulder margin and I don't want to change the anatomy of that. So I will usually start on the interproximal areas. Okay? I will do a little more here because I knew this was slightly under radius. Now once I have achieved this, I put in my last burr, which is my end cutting burr. Okay? Can you appreciate the lip from this angle? Can you? Yeah? Okay. See how I'm going to. Small pull strokes towards you and the entire margin becomes smooth. Okay, so continue the same thing. Yes. Can you see 360-degree margin? No undercuts anywhere? a thicker margin towards the buccal, which is a radial shoulder, a deep chamfer towards the lingual. Can you appreciate absolutely straight preparations on both sides? Yes, that is because we've gone in with the interdental burr. There's no excessive taper there. There is a definite occlusal anatomy. There's a fossa cavity that is being prepared. 2 millimeters on the buccal, 1.5 on the lingual. We're ready at this point to make impression. Alright, now this would be a little rough. Why? Because I have done dry cutting. Alright, I want you guys to probably use water if you feel to. It will give you a much better, smoother finish.
So when do we?
Now groove is something that I like to give with my radial shoulder burr. That is it. Can you see a groove developed there?